Good evening. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out on this lovely evening. Beautiful weather. Very importantly here, we appreciate it. There's nothing better than high school athletics. It's a wonderful thing for our school, our students, and our community. So we want to provide you lots of valuable information tonight. A lot of credit to our students. They're student athletes because they're students first and athletes second. They've got to keep a high academic standard and behave well within the school community. So we have very high expectations of them, and they rise to meet those expectations. They do a great job of representing both our school and our community out on the athletic fields. So that comes a lot from the upbringing they get from home and your support, and all you do for them, driving them to and from games and supporting them. So thank you for doing that. And again, thank you for being here tonight. Great program tonight. We'll give you lots of good information, and then it'll end with meeting with the coaches so you can hear from them what the expectations are for the year. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our athletic director, Mrs. Jen Hamill.
Well, all right, like Principal Bodwell said, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys coming out. It just gives everybody an opportunity, gives me an opportunity to reach out to you and express, just show you some of the things that we look for during the year in the athletic office. So I really appreciate it. And I want you to know your kids are awesome. I feel so lucky. Certainly coming into my second year here at West Bridgewater, it's awesome coming in, seeing the kids, that I've known last year, seen them grow. I can't be more excited to, get this season going. There's a lot that goes into it, and, thanks to my coaches, Principal Wadwell, Assistant Principal Page, I certainly couldn't do it without all the help around me. So thanks so much, and I want to welcome, our athletes that have been here and families, and a big welcome to our new families. Again, I'm Jen Hamill. I'm the Director of Athletics and Activities here. If you ever need anything, please feel free to give me a call, and I'm happy to help you out. So as we move along, our first speaker is going to be Mrs. Shea, Nicole Shea. She's the Vice President of the Boosters. We have a change. Yep. We have Mr. Ryan. Jeff Ryan is going to be our new president. But we could not do some of the activities, some of the teams that we have without our boosters. So there's a lot of great activities. I know we have some fundraisers coming up, and I know Ms. Shea is going to tell us all about that. But certainly, thank you so much to our boosters, and I look forward to another great year of working with everyone. And here we are, Nicole Shea.
Thanks, Jen. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Nicole Shea. I'm currently the Vice President, I'd like to stress that, of the Athletic Boosters. Our newly elected President, Jeff Ryan, actually had tickets to see Billy Joel conveniently tonight, and he couldn't make it. So strangely enough, he wanted to do that instead of hanging out here with us. So we'll give him a hard time for that. But this is basically just a great opportunity. Really appreciate the administration giving us an opportunity to kind of do a visual and tell you guys a little bit about who we are and what we do. So before we totally get started here, so for those of you that may not know, we are a parent-run volunteer organization excuse me, that supports Wildcat athletes in grades 7 through 12. So whether you have junior high, high school, we're supporting all their needs that basically just aren't covered by the school budget. So how do we do that? Well, we fundraise, of course. Some of our fundraisers, so we have a few throughout the year. We have like 3 major fundraisers and a couple other smaller fundraisers. Our car wash fundraiser is one of my favorites because it's the one opportunity our kids have to get involved. Our other fundraisers are usually adults only or during school hours. So it's really, so I would just encourage you to encourage your kids to come on out and help with the car wash if they can. They can get volunteer hours if they come and give 1 or 2 hours, a shift during the day. And you guys can just help simply by whether you're like donating your towels, those ones that you have from your wedding shower 20, 30 years ago that like you really can't put out. We could really use those at the car wash. So if you have some of those, send them on in, just shoot us a quick email. We'd love to come pick them up. or just really simply just driving your car through, or every car in your family. I know some of you have 3 or 4 drivers. Drive them all right on through. Just a little donation just really goes a long way. So consider that if you can help. Our comedy night fundraiser is our newest fundraiser. It's the first year we're doing it this year. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It's an 18-plus event, and tickets are $25, so not so bad. I mean, let's be honest, everybody would spend $50 on a date night in a second. So there'll be a cash bar, and it's BYOS, bring your own snacks, which is kind of nice, good way to save some money. You share them with everybody at your table. You can actually purchase tickets, purchase a table of tickets too. So we'll also have some great raffle items in a 50-50. I mean, surely for every parent in here, you know, you can definitely support us by coming out and having a drink and having some laughs. I feel like everybody can do that. So our annual golf classic is our next fundraiser that's held in the spring. And it's our second largest way of earning money every year. So we're excited this year to have secured a date in June. Everybody that is involved is going to be really happy to hear that news. When it's hopefully not 34 degrees out in May, which is a little strange, but that's how it's kind of shaken out the last couple of years. So, so you can see the date there, June 1st. Mark your calendar. If you're a golfer or not, you can come out and just help us, you know, just set up. There's a lot of things you can do and a lot of ways you can help. So whether you play, you can sponsor a hole. If you have a business, if you're a small business owner out there, it's a great way to get your name out there and get the recognition. We have tea sponsors. Or honestly, just get a bunch of people in your neighborhood to chip in $5 or $10 and make us a raffle basket. We have some awesome raffles at our golf tournament. That's a reason right there in of itself to come check it out. So whatever you can do, there's you know, lots of levels of participation with what we do here. So next we have the Snack Shack, which kind of speaks for itself. Pizza, hot dogs, hot and cold drinks. Anybody that's been to a Friday night game, football game knows all about it. So, you know, just know when you are there and feeding your family that we are, you know, those funds are coming back directly to us. So feel free to feed everybody dinner every Friday night there if you want to. That would be great. So back to last but not least, my favorite fundraiser, guys. And anybody that knows me knows this. I just cannot stress enough how important this weekly fundraiser is to all Wildcat athletes. And I'm sure you're thinking like, bingo athletes, like how does that work? But let me tell you, let's start by just looking at that number in red. So that's how much money we raised from bingo just this year, almost $27,000. It's a lot of money. And I'm going to get back to bingo because it's one of those things that even if you give 8 hours a year, this funds 80% of what we do. So it's really, and it's super simple. It's called ticket sales, so I think it kind of scares people off a little bit. There's actually no selling that's involved. Believe me, these tickets sell themselves. So if anybody's ever been to bingo, you know what I'm talking about. But basically, if you know that 4 quarters makes $1, you can do it. And I feel like some of my bingo moms out there, can you please raise your hand and tell them that I'm not lying? This is the truth. Yeah, super easy. You know, and it's a fun night. It's from 6 to 8. I always tell moms and dads, maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but tell them it goes from 6 to 10 and just go out with your girlfriend after. Do it with a friend. It's a lot of fun. So for anybody that I just got in trouble, sorry. So back to what is most important, which is obviously why we do it. For the athletes, of course, to grow our sports programs. We now have JV and varsity volleyball, boys freshman basketball team, JV girls ice hockey, which mostly funded itself, which is pretty amazing, but we did help out a little bit. These sports weren't even an option just, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I think. So that's, you know, it's pretty amazing. So obviously it's all about the athletes, you know, and we have some pretty, just some pretty amazing teams here for this small little school, a lot of championships. You know, we should be really, really proud. So next, our funds also go, hold on one sec, let me just go back for a minute here. So our athletic awards night, I don't know for anybody, if you have older kids and they've earned a varsity letter, you've already been probably to our athletic awards night. But for those of you that don't know, it's just a great opportunity to kind of just recognize all of our student athletes that evening. And basically, we pay for the entire evening. It costs about $15,000 every year. So this includes jackets and plaques for anybody here that has a kid that has a varsity jacket. In a lot of schools, you would pay for that yourself, $150, $200. Plaques, all this stuff, we pay for it. So, and also to keep user fees low. And I know everybody's thinking like, ooh, our user fees went up to $200 this year. I need to tell you guys, I did a lot of research a couple years ago, and surrounding towns, it's still the best deal around. So we're all very lucky. Your child can play 3 sports for $200, and basically, us kind of supplementing is what keeps those user fees low. So, just by everybody volunteering a little bit, we can help keep those low. We could be paying $300 a sport very easily, like other surrounding towns. So just a couple little quick facts for you guys to read through, but most importantly, just know that the number at the bottom, again, I think is, pretty amazing. And it's thanks to all the parents that are volunteering too. It's not just one person or 4 people or 5 people that, that make this happen, but over the last 7 years, we've donated about $175,000. So it's a lot of money, and it's done a lot of great things for our athletic program. And like I said before, 80% of our funding comes from bingo. So definitely something to consider. Stacy Rafel, I don't know where she is. Maybe she could raise her hand if she's in here. Oh, she's out there. All right. So she's actually taking over as on our bingo subcommittee. So she's kind of heading up the volunteers. And again, you could just volunteer 4 times a year. We actually have a user fee free voucher program right now. Look at that. See, look, they volunteered. Certainly you can do it. It wasn't that bad, was it? No. So we have a user fee voucher program that right now, if you volunteer 4 times a year, you can basically pay half your user fee, $100. If you volunteer 8 times a year, you get a free user fee. So even if you've already paid it, come chat with me. We can make arrangements. We have just 2 spots left, I believe, and that could have changed, I guess, even since the time that I came in here. But just know that, again, even just giving a few hours really makes a huge difference. So I know what you're all thinking, right? This sounds great. What do I do? How do I get involved? I knew it. So truly, we're not looking for a huge commitment. This isn't like the YA where you're going to be up at 8 a.m. mowing the grass, I promise. It's really not. And I know that's what you're all afraid of, so let's just say it, and I love the YA, and we were involved for many years, but this is different. So whether you're, just coming to our monthly meetings, it's for 2 hours, not even. That's a lie. It's for an hour. It's supposed to be an hour and 15 maybe. So it really is, unless things get out of hand, but we'll see. You could join one of our fundraising subcommittees. Say like spring is a less busy time for you at work and you want to be involved in the golf tournament. You could just give a few hours to the subcommittee, for golf. Lots of different ways. Obviously, you could purchase some of our merchandise outside. We have a lot of logo merchandise. We have tumblers, umbrellas, a lot of really cool new things this year. So if you guys, it's inexpensive too, $10, $15, $20. So go on out and do that. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, obviously follow us on social media, share our posts, sign up for our email. And actually tonight, if you sign up, Stacy Rafel has a little clipboard out there at the table. If you want to just sign up and give us your name, we don't send that many emails, I promise. We use Constant Contact. We send, just usually emails around our fundraising time, just letting you know what's going on. Again, it's just a quick reminder if you wanted to donate a raffle basket or something. So if you give us your email address, then you can just throw your name. We have a little contest going for a fun little prize pack. So it has a couple shirts in it, keychain, a bunch of Wildcat stuff, a tumbler. So can't hurt. We promise, like I said, we won't haunt you a lot. So we'll all be out there to chat if you have questions or want to know more about getting involved or what it entails. And I think that's pretty much it. So thank you so much, everybody, for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Nicole. That's awesome. I mean, truly, we could not do some of the programs that we do offer without the boosters, so it's pretty awesome. So next up is our trainer, Audra Robbins. Again, Audra works for Signature Health. She's our trainer here. Her office is down by my office, down by the gym. I could not do what I do without her either. She takes such good care of your athletes, does her best job to try to keep them out on the field. But certainly we know things happen, and she's got to make some tough decisions. But again, I could not do what I do without her. So thank you, Audra, and I'm Audra Robbins.
Hi, everybody. My name is Audra. I'm the athletic trainer here. I work through Signature Healthcare. I work in the orthopedic department in the mornings, and then I come here in the afternoons. So just some quick information. My email is up there. If you have any questions, need to contact me. That's the best way to reach me. It's on the website as well if you need it there. That's my phone number to my direct line. You can just leave me a message there. I'll get it, and I'll call you back if you need it. My athletic training room, like Ms. Hamill said, is down the hallway by the gym. That's where you can find me most often if I'm not on the field. Contact me anytime, late at night, early in the morning. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. And then I have a Twitter account, which is right there, that I update as needed. So when to see me? When you get injured during practice, during a game, over the weekend, something happens, and it's going to affect your ability to play on the field, you need to come see me, let me know. Let the coaches know as well. If you have medical conditions, something that we need to keep an eye on, asthma, allergies, diabetes, stuff like that. Medications that we need to be aware of, that's important as well. And any other medical concerns that you have, you can just bring them up to me and we'll keep an eye on them. Communication, or concussions, first of all, is another huge aspect. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second. And then communication. This is key to making sure everybody's on the same page and we're all in a loop. So you need to talk with your coaches, parents, myself, and the nurse if needed, if it's going to affect you during school. We need to be aware and make sure that everybody's on the same page so that we're not getting miscommunication. It's not too easy to all stay on the same page if you're not the one advocating for yourself. Another thing with me is taking care of yourself as an athlete. So this is including hydration and nutrition. Already this season, I've been seeing students who are having trouble with hydration and heat. It's been hot, but not too hot, not like last year. But if you don't take care of yourself during the day, before practice, during and after practice, you're going to see the effects when you're outside running around for 2 hours. It's going to take a toll on you. It's going to prevent you from performing at your best. And it's going to prevent you from practicing completely. You need to listen to your body, and if it's telling you that you're in pain, you need to stop. You need to tell me about it. I'm around. I'm available during practices, during games. When students push through it, that can lead to further injury. One of the big topics right now is concussions. It always is. It's very, very serious and very important. This is an image that basically shows you what your brain does when you take an impact. Yes, a lot of people think that a helmet's going to protect you from a concussion, and that's not the case. You could have a helmet on this brain, and it's not going to hold the brain in place and prevent an injury. An impact causes the brain to bounce back and forth and creates chemical changes that can affect your memory and other symptoms that are caused by it. Signs and symptoms of a concussion. Well, I know not all the athletes are here, but parents, be aware of this. Keep an eye out. If they say that they got hit in the head, got hit pretty hard during practice, you need to be aware of the signs and symptoms at home so that you can keep an eye on them. So it includes headache, pressure in the head, neck pain, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, blurry vision, balance problems, sensitivity to light and noise, difficulty concentrating, memory problems, and academic issues. Yes, these can be a part of something else going on, but if they've got an impact to the head, then we need to take a better look at them. Concussion awareness. For the athletes especially, always report it and never hide it. It's not going to do you, your teammates, or the coaches any good. It's just going to prolong your recovery. Tough it out mentality does not apply to this injury. It doesn't apply to any injury, but this one, We need to get out of the loop of it's just a bump in the head. I just rung my bell. That's not the way it is anymore. When you're tackling, you tackle with your head up, not down. Be educated on the dangers of the concussion and repercussions of not speaking up about it. You need to tell me, you need to tell the coach, you can tell the athletic director, your parents, your teammates. Even if you suspect one of your teammates has gotten hit in the head, you need to speak up if they don't say anything. It's better to miss one game because you got hit in the head and tell me about it than it is to miss an entire season. So just a couple rules through Massachusetts. These are the rules that I apply and follow. So if you sustain a hit to the head or an injury, you must be pulled from practice or the game immediately and cannot return that day, no matter what your symptoms are. Once you do sustain a concussion and are diagnosed with one, you need a medical clearance form from a physician. I cannot clear you until I get that note saying that you are all set to return to play. Once I get that medical clearance form, we can start the 5-day return to play protocol. So as soon as the doctor says you're good to go, that doesn't mean you can play in the game that afternoon. We have 5 days of gradually increasing activity to make sure that you're good before we can get you back onto the field for competition. Doctor's clearance notes. Every athlete goes to the doctor for an illness, injury, or any other reason needs to bring a note with them, regardless of what it is. If they're sick, if they don't feel well, an injury, they need to bring it and hand it in to me or the nurse. This includes dental visits. If you get a tooth pulled, if you have to get your wisdom teeth out, I need a note for that, just to make sure that they understand that you have sports and you need to be cleared before you can return. Even when I do get the note from the physician, I have final clearance just because I'm the one with you on the field every day, making sure that you're good. If the doctor thinks that you're good to go, I definitely take that into consideration, but if I see that an athlete's not performing at their best and they're still struggling, I'm not going to let them go just because they got a note saying that the doctor says so. It's for liability, for the safety and health of the athletes. We have functional testing that I need to make sure they're capable of. I spend a lot of time with athletes. I watch them play and perform just to make sure that they're at their best. Please give all medical notes to me or the school nurse. If I'm not there, you can drop them off in the office. And if I am, you can bring them straight to me. Do not give them to your coach. Sometimes they don't make their way to me. Make sure that both myself and the coach are aware of injury and illness. And you must have a return to play date on the note. It cannot say a student can return when as tolerated. It needs to say on a specific day they are cleared to return to play. And that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Audra. Again, I defer to Audra. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a doctor. I don't even claim to be one on TV. I'm kidding. But I do. Audra makes the final decision. I do not. And like she said, if she gets a note from a doctor, that does not clear your child to play. They need to see Audra. So as we move along, you guys, I just have some things that I'm going to go through that are pertinent to, decision making that I do every day. And please know, decisions that go on, I look at our department as a whole. So as issues come up or things go on, I have to make decisions that are best for our department. So it can be hard sometimes. But we do have rules that we need to follow, and we certainly do our best to try to do that. So we have these. This all will be online. I will put this on our athletic website, and so you will be able to access this. I believe it was last year's, but also when you sign in on Family ID, this is something you're signing off on. So you're saying, yes, I acknowledge, I have read it, I agree with it, and so just so you know, because sometimes we go on and we don't realize what we're signing, but this is part of that process. So we do on this have our coaches' names. They are also on our athletic website. I am trying to utilize our school website more. So there's a school website with the athletic page on it. I am really utilizing that. Just like I do on Twitter, I'm putting information on that live feed as well. I am, and I will, if I repeat myself, I apologize, I'm also using that for scheduling, as you will find out. So you can go on there, you can find out your coaches' names if you're looking for someone, and also on the school website is their email. So there is a contact on there, it says staff. So I certainly tried to go to update and make sure everything is correct on there. So first talking about our student, athletic code. Again, this is something you sign off on Family ID too. We have a lot of pertinent information that affects the kids every single day. And this is what I refer back to when I have questions or I'm not sure. This is what we go by. So please go on there and check it out. Make yourself familiar with it. It has our student athlete code of conduct, risk of participation in athletics, academic requirements, the MIAA policies, and then rules that are to receive athletic awards. Some of those things, at times get updated, so it's definitely a great resource to use, if you have a question. And always, feel free to, email me if you have questions. My email, I believe, is on this and also on our website. So talking about coach, student, athlete communication, we certainly try to do our best and always working on it, communicating with our student athletes, parents, and families. I just really want to emphasize and trying to work on this, the resolution process. Something happens, we know it does. How do we kind of go about that? What does your student athlete do? I know it's hard. It's something to encourage and something I'm definitely encouraging, will encourage, and will continue to do. We look for our, the first thing I'm going to ask if someone emails me or gives me a call, I'm going to ask if you've spoken to the coach. That will be my first and foremost question, and I'm going to continue to do that. If that's not working, we encourage our athletes, and our coaches. We have, meetings all the time. We certainly want to work through things. It's not easy. It's not easy. And so we want to be there to help. It is certainly more to help. And then so on and so forth. As you go on, as you can see in the process, it gets a little bit more in depth with people involved. But like I'm asking is please, 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 reach out to your coaches. They're awesome. They're there. That's what they're there for. And they have the, most up-to-date information as to, what is going on. And certainly, as we all know, on game day, when it can be intense, things happen, give yourself some time. Give yourself 24 hours before you, if there's an issue or if you have, feelings on something, just give it some time and at least give it 24 hours. Which you probably all know already, but things that, coaches are there, they're working with your kids. Playing time is not to be discussed. That's between the coach and the student athlete. Again, I just encourage student athletes to reach out to their coaches and ask questions. Ask questions, if they're feeling, they're having challenges or trouble, reach out to coach and ask why. Hey, helpful hints. Again, we are here to help. We're all teachers and want to see our student athletes exceed or excel, not only on the field, but off the field. Again, this is on our website, so you can always access it. Again, as we go on, this is just, if I repeat myself, this is physicals. It can be a challenge. We have our new nurse, Nurse Dietrichson, who is here, and we have been working on communication, Audra, myself, and Julie, and she's, we're getting there. But if you have a physical and you drop it off at the main office, even if you can note on it needed for athletics, it just helps us kind of move that physical right along and just making everyone aware so we can move it along so kids aren't missing playing time out there. During the school hours, our nurse is great. If you can get that to her around 2 o'clock, things change. Audra would be the best person for that. I will keep you posted. I'm trying to get, maybe a new copier in my office if I can afford it. And so I can get maybe faxes in there. I got to work on it, but I'm trying to streamline. I'm trying to make that process a little easier for everyone. So I will keep you posted on that. Any information I will get that to you immediately. As Audra stated, we really needed to say on there, student athlete can play on this date, just so there's no questions. Talking about our athletic schedules. Once again, I will use the MIAA for our varsity sports. I need to keep them in there. I need to keep scores in there, and that's for tournament play. I am utilizing our school website. That's where I will make changes. That's where every single sport will be on there. I'm fortunate I have a couple interns this year to kind of help me. So hoping to, I will keep very on top of that and making sure you have that information. Like I said, if you have a question, email your coach. Email coach, email coach. I will use Twitter. You might even see yourself on Twitter. If you're on the sideline, I might get a pic, and I might put it up there. Be aware. No, I'm kidding. I won't. But I utilize Twitter a lot. I love it. The kids love it. They come in, oh, Miss Samuel, I saw, myself on Twitter. I utilize that a lot. I use that for a ton of information, always encouraging coaches to use Twitter too. So as you go to these meetings with your coaches, talk to them. Do they have a Twitter account? What is it? It's just a way for us all to keep in that loop of communication. Nobody wants to be left out of that loop, and we're certainly trying to do our best to make sure we get that information out there. Couple things for athletic eligibility that I see kind of running through in my office, some challenges that I face. We all know we got to register on Family ID. Like I said, there are many sign-ups on there. Working on getting athletes signed up on time. I really need help, getting these kids. When we, start sign-ups, if you can get in there and sign up, I can cancel a registration at any time. No fee. You do not have to pay. I just want to recognize coaches for months are kind of preparing to get ready for the start of athletics, for the start of these games, for start of practice and tryouts. So it's a little bit harder when we get the kids that are, and I understand things do happen, and certainly, individual case by case basis, but really trying to get out there and get the word out to get kids signed up on time. We talked about physical exam. Audra is the one who keeps track of the impact testing. And she's been great at communicating when student athlete needs one. She did an awesome job preparing before the season. She was in that computer lab every day for hours trying to get your kids, impact test, baseline test. So awesome job, Audra. Athletic fee went up to $200. Please feel free to reach out if you need help or any questions. I do believe our payment deadline is 9/20, so as we kind of get, going here, you're probably going to have coaches asking, just reminding you about it. I will put something out as we kind of get along. Any help would be greatly appreciated. If you need a user fee returned, email me. Please email me. I do find it, when things start happening and maybe something happens and you can't play or your student athlete can't play, totally understand. If you could email me to let me know, hey, Ms. Hamill, can you please refund this, whatever the case may be. No problem. I don't want to miss anybody. I don't want to have somebody's user fee, when they need it back to them and I miss it. So it's just helpful for me if you can give me that heads up. Like I said, if you need any help, please feel free to email me. Again, going on, some more difficult things in WB athletic policies that we need to talk about. Students must be in attendance at school by 7:45 a.m. in order to be eligible to practice or compete in a game. If you are not in by 7:45 a.m., you need a note, or your student athlete needs a note that is approved by Principal Bodwell or Assistant Principal Page. This is not I overslept. This is not, hey, I got my Dunkin' Donuts. We really need, they are students first, and it's important to be in school by 7:45 a.m. If your student athlete can't make, a practice or something going on, give coaches heads up early enough. Again, coaches are preparing all the time, and the more advance notice they have on what's going on, the easier it is to kind of make those decisions and deal with that issue. Again, commitment, dedication. Athletes are required to be at every practice, every game, unless you're injured or ill. Of course, if you're injured or ill, you would let the coach know, and then you need a medical note to return to play. Transportation. We do have a transportation policy. All student athletes are, they need to ride the bus to and from games. You can get something in writing to not have that happen, but this is if you have a doctor's appointment, a family emergency. I mean, this is just not out of convenience. We really need athletes to be going to and from our athletic events on the bus. Kind of finally going into just kind of going over some MIAA rules that we find that come up and that are really important to remind, our student athletes of. So we have our bona fide team member rule. A bona fide team member of the school team is a student who regularly presents for and actively participates in all practices and competitions. Bona fide team members are precluded from missing a high school practice or competition in order to practice or compete with an out-of-team school. I do find that this one does come up, and please know we're just doing the best, again, for our department as a whole. So, it's decisions that are made, are in the athletic department's best interest. Just some reminders. The bona fide team member cannot miss a practice competition for non-school athletic activity. Students cannot be given special treatment. So you can't leave one of our games, a late arrival or an early dismissal for a non-school athletic program. So we certainly appreciate your help on that. It can affect future, playing in future games, and then if there is an extenuating circumstance, it's something that we can talk about and discuss at that time. Certainly, touch base with the coach, who can then touch base with me, and we can kind of all be in on that communication loop. Communication to team, all student athletes are expected to attend all games and practices. We talked about that. Communication with your coach ASAP if something goes on. Missing a team activity for another event can affect playing time and then lead to other disciplinary action. Weekend practices are up to the coach. We do have weekend practices. You need to prepare for that. If something's going on, please discuss it ahead of time with the coach. Again, the more advanced notice they have, it's a little bit easier to kind of understand and deal with the issue. Chemical health rule from the earliest fall practice date to the conclusion of the academic school year or final athletic event. This includes Saturdays and Sundays. A student shall not, regardless of the quantity, use, consume, possess, buy, sell, or give away any beverages containing alcohol, tobacco products, including e-cigarettes, vape pens, marijuana, including synthetic, steroids, or any controlled substance. This policy indicates products such as near beer or inhalants. Guys, this is on the MIA website. This is an MIA. You can pull this up at any time. And it's one that it happens. And again, these are just the penalties. 25%, this is kind of the result of the actions, 60%, and so on and so forth. So again, I just want to thank you guys. Thank you so much. There's a lot of information all the time. Again, I say reach out to your coaches. I always feel, you can always email me, but it's a pleasure. I absolutely love what I do. I'm a Wildcat, true and true. So I thank you for your support, and I truly look forward to this season, and I look forward to the fall, and so on and so forth. We start games next week, and I look for your support. Come on out to a game. We got lots of stuff going on. We do have, I'm working on homecoming. I'm looking at the weekend of 9/27. So let's go. We got this, and come on out and enjoy. But thank you so much. We have Miss Page who's going to come and talk a little bit about e-cigarettes and vapes, and thanks so much.
Good evening. Officer Thaxter was unable to be with us this evening, so Ms. Hamill had asked me if I would step in and discuss a little bit about the vapes, because we are seeing them, more than we would like in the school. Last year, the students are vaping in school, we are aware. So the more that we can be informed about it, and with the big group of parents here, I think it's important that we can kind of discuss it and see some things that maybe you don't know about vaping. Here are just some facts about the e-cigarettes and vapes. For years, the vaping industry and people have been advertising it as it wasn't a big deal. Thankfully, recently in the news, we're starting to see some negative ads and information, which we felt would be coming, and I'm sure in the future we'll see much more. But they're starting to realize that it's really probably not the best idea, and certainly, not replacement of just cigarettes. It's not a good idea. The image of e-cigarettes is not relatively harmless. It has stuck, even though it's not accurate. nearly all vaping products come in a variety of flavors. So you'll notice that a lot of times you'll see they're almost looking like candy. And so it's to entice the young children to go and get into these vaping materials. Athletes need to be vigilant in staying away from it because it's going to hinder your performance while you train. Here's almost like the pen generation. So it started with a cigarette, it almost looked like a cigarette, moving on to different variations. And you'll notice towards the one now, and even the dab pens, which look more like pens, the most recent. And not only with many of these things is it nicotine, but also lots of these things that we're seeing in schools, it has the HTC oil. So it's not necessarily nicotine, but these students are ingesting marijuana. We know things, nicotine interferes with the body's natural ability to experience and communicate pleasure. Nicotine creates floods of dopamine and intense feelings. The user needs nicotine to feel normal, and we've seen that with kids in our school. And with the pods that these students are inhaling through the vapes, one pod is equivalent to a pack of cigarettes. So a lot of these kids, they're sneaking into the bathrooms, and it's not like cigarettes of past when you're walking by and you can smell a cigarette. These have floral smells. They don't smell bad, but they're in there vaping and ingesting a lot of nicotine in a very short time, and they're coming down with very pale, nauseous, dry mouth. If you see your sons and daughters very thirsty all the time, those sorts of things, those are keys to kind of have a conversation with your child. Additionally, the pleasure centers in the brain creates a memory of nicotine and an appetite for it, so it's very, very addictive. The aerosols produced by these chemicals leave residue in the lungs. You've probably seen in the news lately about popcorn lung, and they're starting to find students, young kids, are being hospitalized, having trouble breathing based on just these popcorn lungs. Ear, eye, throat irritation. So if you're seeing that in your child, ask questions, you know. Vape users will have a lot of these type of symptoms. Some recent studies show that e-cigarettes can lead to cardiovascular diseases, and I am not trying to say that I'm an expert on these topics. These are some informational things that we were able to gather with the help of our health teacher and Officer Thaxter. And nicotine use in early adolescence causes changes in the brain, making lifelong addiction. And we have seen some changes in our kids, and many times when we see these things, we have conversations with parents. You can tell there is a change in behavior, especially if they're using the HTC oil. Oh, and that's it. So anytime sometimes we like to have some samples out for you, but anytime if you ever have questions, want to know what's new, have we seen any new things coming to school, please call Open Door Policy. We'd love to chat with you about it. And the biggest thing for us, and we talked about it at the orientation, is talk to your kids, check your kids, because a lot of times they're hiding these things in places that we can't look. So the more that you can send them off to school, making sure you know what they're leaving with, it helps them, and it certainly will help us in school. Thank you.
Well, thanks again, everybody. We appreciate you all coming out. We're going to separate, and you're going to be able to go and talk to your coaches. Any questions you have, now's a great opportunity to ask them. So we're going to do girls soccer is in room 103, boys soccer 104, cross country's here in the auditorium, field hockey 105, football in the Learning Commons, volleyball 108, golf 106, cheer 107. Nice job, everybody. Thanks so much.